Hello everyone, I'm Dimithri and today I'm joined here by Huppermans-Bonardeaux and Nikolaj Fondt Salzwedell, who made Portrait of Ourselves. Hi.
Hello.
Hi, welcome.
Hi.
Good to see you.
Hi, good to see you.
Please sit down. Nice. How are you today? You're doing good?
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's doing good.
Nice.
Yeah.
Thank you.
How are you
Thank
doing?
you. I'm doing very well. Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much. So in December, you two started to work together on a duet, which was called A Portrait to Ourselves, right?
Cool. No, sorry, I'm getting completely nervous.
That's totally fine. I think it's part of it.
It's called Portrait of Ourselves.
Portrait of ourselves, not to ourselves.
Yeah.
Good. Okay. Well, then maybe a first question. Why?
Why it was called
Portrait of Ourselves, yeah.
I guess we went into quite a discussion about it, and I think it's also because we were talking so much about that it needs to be in this moment where it is. It's a bit of a frame of where we are in our process, because we had a lot of different things. I feel like we had overtones, right?
Overtones.
And also just untitled, because we're also thinking a lot about the praxis, right?
Yeah.
So maybe it's nice to start with a recap for also the people watching. Maybe some have seen it, maybe some have not seen it.
Mm-hmm.
To like, okay, what did you make? What did you tell the audience there?
Mm-hmm.
And what is this show about? Yeah.
Do you want to do like a recap? Then I fill it up.
Yeah. We've created the show with the strong desire, I guess, for the audience to connect, to participate, to experience and to celebrate a space together.
Mm-hmm.
And practically it would be that the audience is free in space and somehow invited in a subtle way to participate physically.
Yeah, and it was not necessarily the goal was not to have them participate. I guess maybe participation is one way of measuring freedom, and I guess within this frame that we had, it ended up becoming much more about us trying to let go of ourselves and then making like a more spiritual connection to what ourselves means, and that we are in that way inviting for this dissembling of something.
Right.
Because there was this heavy focus on this trajectory of assembling a piano and actually recontextualizing it. And I think that was like our then first attempt of trying to open up completely and not but in a way we kind of failed, right?
You failed, you say?
Yeah.
Yeah, we didn't have really a feedback from the audience where I feel like we achieved what we were looking for.
And you mean this feedback should have happened within the performance or after?
It could happen during,
Mm-hmm.
but if it doesn't, then I hope that we'll get it in the feedback and by talking with the people. But we didn't get it.
No, and I guess we were also talking a lot about the constellation of which it's presented in, because it was a piece that was shown with other pieces, and it becomes quite a lot about repositioning oneself and limited time, and so to actually opening up for space. How can we do that within 20 to 30 minutes?
Yeah.
And then
Well, they've also seen other performances
Exactly,
in between.
And so I think we went for something that opened up for something, but also acknowledges that there's much more to be searched within.
So, because the thing I find very interesting, also while I saw it myself, was this invitation to the audience indeed to somehow, you also say it already, the somehow participating. I would like to go a little bit deeper into that, and like, where do you draw the line? Would you, for example, have stopped if audience really participated, or would it be allowed? And like, how far would you take that, and how far did you achieve, or did it work the way you did it? Was this what you were looking for, in that sense?
Yeah. We really worked on the idea that everything is part of the show, so whatever would happen, it would be part of it.
Cool.
Yeah.
It also happened that the light didn't work,
Mm-hmm.
the last performance. And and of course people didn't know if it was part of it. I don't have one single person who knew.
Yeah.
Suddenly the light goes off, and we are looking for how to repair the situation.
There's I guess there's a bit of we were also, or at least I was quite confronted with this wish to present something and have it presentable, and therefore I think I was one that made it so that it was quite how do you say, maybe engageable or approachable for somebody who is just coming in and experiencing it, but to actually making it into this, like, it also made it so that I had an internal plan of things that goes, and it also ended up becoming a bit like a scene and another scene and another scene. And to kind of eradicate that was the wish. And I guess that would be one of the very focused on next steps. Right. When we are to do it again.
When you are to do it again.
Focus on what?
Yeah, so focus on allowing it to either be modular, or either be one thing, or either be whatever it is all the time, and not have this particular line that needs to be through, or at least for me at least, be better to embrace, okay, now the lights is off, and that is part of the experience, instead of, because there is also something in me that is not just enjoying it. I'm also,
of course.
Yeah. But I think it would be different than somebody. I think, there was somebody that really wanted to play the piano, for example, and that was like just about to do it, and then I think Tom like crawled into something, and then they did like.
Right. Okay.
And I would have loved it if it happened. Then I was like, okay, then we stay here for some while.
But is it then also about letting the piece be less structured, or is that not necessarily the case?
Yeah, because we're thinking, is it a piece or is it a praxis that we're searching for? I guess maybe this piece is the idea of having something, now a piano, that is with time being disassembled within a particular space. And I'm saying particular because the space that we were in, we also had unplugged a lot of things and had put microphones inside of the walls. And so I think that piece would always kind of like set itself into a particular space, and then still be like able to, this space has this, so we should utilize that one thing up there, and we should do and to make it this open, I think is, at least in my book, for the next thing. For the praxis, or for the next openness.
And is this also why you would rather call it a practice instead of a piece? Because this is something I find very interesting. What is the distinction you are making? Why to call it a practice instead of a piece?
Yeah, I think we were just having a practice for quite a lot of time, and then we tried to just keep it like this. Yeah. And then at a certain point, we are ending it up having to frame it. But I think we're both curious what happens if we just keep the praxis. And it's actually just like, it's just ever flowing somehow. You also talked a bit about having it be much engageable for not just the two of us in a space, but really to have it open for people while rehearsing or while showing, or that it's never we're rehearsing and it's like closed in, but it's really constantly happening and being shown to everything all the time.
Right.
Right?
Because you were saying something about that I just heard? Or nothing in particular?
Yeah, it was in the question before that I said it should be more, it's about engaging the audience.
Right.
And I think that's also a part of the practice then, that even when we perform, that it stays experimentation to a certain level, that the person should have played piano,
right,
and then how do we welcome it and guide it and go further.
Yeah.
That's very exciting, also because you have to be on your toes constantly as performers yourself.
Yeah. But I guess
surprise yourself, maybe.
And I guess it's also this debate of when creating performances, there's still something about working, not working, or this is taking out energy and this is giving energy, and when working with something that is exactly just allowing whatever is happening to become part of it and just look at it as part of it always. I guess maybe questions if it is then a performance, or is it a practice, or is it just whatever?
Well, especially if you open up rehearsals, for example, it becomes more of a thing that I could also enter this rehearsal and participate in this practice and discover for myself what it means, and then I also understand way more why you would call it a practice instead of a piece. If you would do it like this.
We did have open rehearsals actually.
Right.
I guess I think there was only when we were mad at each other. Then we locked it all.
Well, this is something we will come back to.
And even that, I think maybe I was like, I just need a moment, and then and then we opened it again or something.
I don't remember.
No, but
You don't remember the times you were mad at each other, right?
I do.
Before we go there,
but okay.
You were saying something still.
No, yeah. So the point was just that it was open, and we did invite people to come in, but definitely there was an observer role more than it was active engagement. But it was. Yeah. I think we had like 4 run-throughs the first week, something like this.
Yeah.
Anyways.
Well, it will be an interesting development, right? To see how it works then.
Yes.
And because there was this whole process beforehand to make your own concept and to choose your partners within the class you were in.
Yeah.
So you eventually started working together. Did this concept start? How did it start? Did you have to sacrifice something of your own to merge the concept together, or how did it work?
Not in the concept. In concept, we were quite in sync, even though we realized afterwards that we were in sync, but in an unconscious way, for my part. That I was totally agreeing with Nikolaj, but I didn't know why. And then it's later that we come to the point where actually I have to find a reason. Yeah.
Because you in the moment you didn't actually know why, or what do you mean?
Yeah, I was feeding it. Sometimes I was rationally, getting it. Quite often, to me, what you were expressing to me in terms of concepts gave images.
Yeah.
To which I was agreeing a lot. Yeah. But then, were we actually thinking the same? Not so much.
I don't know actually if I agree with that. Because somehow what maybe I'm still romanticizing it. I hope not. I hope that's not just what happened. But I had the feeling that there was somehow a space that we could kind of that it was as if, you can maybe say it like this, that if we imagine the space of Tom as a white space and we imagine my space as black space, and the moments where we meet is gray, then at some point everything is just gray, and I actually somehow were doubting ideas, or it was as if even if I didn't get it, I was still within a common space, and to rest within being in that space. Maybe there's something about rationally understanding it that definitely was like, I'm not sure, but there was something about grasping it internally that to me felt in a way much more clear than whatever kind of rational verbal thought would be. It really intrinsically made sense, and then we kind of spoke about it, and then sometimes speaking about it had made it so that we became in our own spaces, and then we had to re-meet again. There was also this beautiful moment where we had spoken about something, and then we were talking about it with somebody, with David Weber Krebs.
Yeah.
I was just thinking, should I say his name?
Well, you did now.
I did now. Now we are here, David, with us. But where we had spoken about something, and then we were speaking with David, and then it was as if, even though we had agreed to the thing just like the day before, you were feeling it in the moment, and then it was not, and then we had to kind of re-meet again.
Yeah.
And what is my point with this? I guess just that exchange was constantly happening, especially in the concept.
So it didn't really feel like you had to sacrifice any ideas of your own, but that they more like came together on this common ground.
Maybe the only thing I guess I was maybe not sacrificing, but I was definitely pushing through the idea of disassembling something. Yeah. And looking back at it, I am happy that we did it. I think it was beautiful to do, but I would know now that the next step for me would be to say, okay, and if it's not our idea, then it's not our idea, then it's my idea, and Thomas can see the image and enjoys the image at some point. But there is a distinction between it.
Absolutely.
So that might be the clearest example of where I were like, okay.
Yeah, this was really something you wanted to do.
Yeah.
Or wanted to have there.
Or it was at least a safety net of something. And I mean, it was still beautiful to do, but yeah, I guess the next beauty is to have it dangerous and have it like uncertain and showcase that uncertainty.
Yeah, which comes back to the practice you just talked about a lot. And for you, Tom, how was it for you?
The question?
The question was like when working together, like from the original concept you had on your own, then coming together, how much of this original concept did you have to strip down or merge together or sacrifice?
Okay, so first entering the flow, to me the concept is one thing, we forget about it, but very fast we would take it back to understand each other on the floor. So we could kind of needed it as a language. And there we met, I guess. But the sacrifice came to at the point that we needed a safety net. At least I needed a safety net. You too.
Apparently.
And if we wanted to sacrifice each other, ourselves.
It's becoming a crazy ritual again now, huh?
Sacrificing ourselves.
Sacrificing yourself.
Then we would need to put the safety net away. And then I had a question, and I think talk to you about it.
Yes, you did.
About the structure.
Would you like me to implement it later?
Yeah.
Please finish first, and
Because the thing
or
is,
ask yourself. You can.
the thing I saw the process is, at one point I put a safety net. I said, I need this safety net.
Yes.
Which was for having me directed for 1.5
Yeah.
day or whatever it was.
Yeah.
What was it?
There was this moment where Tom and I had been clashing, and then Tom asked me to take the role of the director,
Right.
and then I kind of do that and make a structure. I do that, make a structure, and then the problem is that whenever Tom is then with, like, because I'm still playing within it, I was not able to allow Tom to also search within that structure, because I had kind of become the outside eye director whilst being immersed in it. So just made it so that I constantly were like split and was not engaging in what happened in the moment, and I couldn't focus on if it actually worked, the structure. But we still ended up remaining the structure, more or less, I think. But then without having me as the director of it, like after 1.5 day, I think.
And this was something you mentioned because we were talking about the sacrifice you had to make, which was connected to this.
Yeah, the sacrifice would be there. That I put this safety net. I
Yeah.
said, I need it. And then I said, I let it go. I come to Nikolaj and ask, shall we keep it or not?
Right.
And then Nikolaj, you decided to keep it.
Oh, did you ask me to keep it? Or if I wanted to keep it or not?
Yeah. I believe, in my memory,
Yeah.
at one point I came back and I said, do we really keep this structure?
Really?
I think so, yeah.
Oh, damn. Okay.
And this was the moment for the next time. This is the crucial moment where we could have put the safety net away.
Yeah.
But
And I think, why wouldn't we do it? Why wouldn't we?
That's the question. I wanted to.
Well, that's
to
also a
ask
question.
you.
I was gonna ask you
yeah.
now, like why didn't you put it away at that time?
Yeah, but I also ask you now.
Okay, so you first.
Good.
So I actually get the question.
We're still with you. You first.
Yeah.
You wanted to put it away. Why didn't it happen? And why didn't you want to do it?
Because at that point I didn't. Because I asked Nikolaj to make this choice of directing. I didn't dare anymore to say I'm going to put it away.
No.
Because that would be playing. It felt like playing too much with you.
Okay.
Maybe I should have.
Maybe. I think I even said it to you, that you have not reached my border of how much you can play with me.
Yeah.
I think I said something like, I am getting frustrated in a sense that the way of playing is also equally as much challenging sometimes, like active challenge. But you were not hitting me, or like reaching a point where I really went like, no, this is too much.
Didn't I?
Did you?
I wonder, because one time you left the room.
Yeah, but we did that like 3 times.
It's beautiful to hear how you can talk about your clashes. Yeah, absolutely.
So, okay, but maybe my answer to why I would leave the room, why it did hit me, and why it's also not a border, but merely like I was hit with my own border, but that was not the border that you imposed on me. This was my border, and this is also why I did not dare to sacrifice that. It was because that I still am in a process of realizing how much of my internal struggle towards pleasing people is yet so deeply rooted within me, and my how do you say that actually? In my upbringings. So within my upbringings, I've had a father figure in my life, who is also really wonderful. But I think I've also gotten a lot of how do you say that? Things I needed to live up to, and things that made it so that there's definitely moments where I should rather fit in than do what feels right for me, and sometimes, because it's not just him, it's also the structure of our Western society of having art connected to a way of earning money, and if I am not performing well in this piece, maybe somebody from outside who has connections might watch it and they might think, yeah, but it's not structured and therefore I'm not going to give you job opportunities afterwards. These are something so deeply rooted in me, and I guess in a lot of people. And I see that there is space for, if anything, to articulate about it, that this is what's happening. We are, like, for example, imagine we were hired to do this. Then we could definitely, I think, speak about it, but I think it's because it's within a constellation where I'm supposed to be a learner or a student of something. People are coming in with a certain kind of judgment, and I really need to learn that judgment is also to help analyze what I'm doing and improve what I'm doing, and not to put me down. And so that was just why I really didn't dare to.
You needed that safety net, like you said right now.
Yeah, I think so. I really were not able to say, okay, I'm gonna meet the room, whatever it is.
Yeah.
We have developed a kind of praxis, which is still quite undefined and still a lot in its early stages, and I'm just gonna let go and go into the room. I couldn't. So I therefore said, the praxis is kind of half-baked, so therefore we're gonna structure this first entrance to our praxis.
Yeah.
That's my answer.
Yeah. Thank you for your answer. Thank you for sharing as well.
Yeah.
Do you want to add something, or?
That I was also in my borders that you didn't impose, because as we said, I could have put the safety net away, but I also couldn't, because I was quite scared.
Yeah. Yeah, and I guess if you maybe dare to, open up, or dare to open me up and go into that dialogue, maybe something else would have happened. But I think it's good to also be in both dialogue and in dialogue with time and letting these things happen.
Yeah.
But maybe it would have done something, but that's speculations, right?
Right. Yeah. No, I was just listening to this, and also things you said before about a couple clashes you might have had together, which is something I found very interesting.
Might have had.
Well, I assume you had. And how to formulate this? Because what I'm interested in, because you also talk about this gray area you had together, this common ground. Like, how do you deal with those clashes together? How much space do you give each other, and how much do you pull each other back? Like, hey, now I need this from you, or not? How did it go with you two?
How did it go? I guess both of us, as I am analyzing it in the moment, I see that both of us are also occupied with seeing if a process is pleasurable and tough and like coexisting with this. And I think maybe there were some things within what we were struggling with that that was impossible to also keep pleasurable, and therefore we avoided it, or I'm not quite sure about it, I must say. it's a good question.
Mm-hmm.
I think maybe what?
I just thought of one part of the process was also to something about putting our desires to the side, seeing what is in the space,
Yeah.
and somehow I think it is related to that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But it becomes less about us and more about everything.
Right, like in the piece.
Yeah,
in the
like in the
practice.
piece. I mean, maybe it's not super obvious, but that piece is also a portrait of. Wait. No,
Gray area here.
But it was because it was. The idea was also to have it of our, and having it a bit of a double meaning of it is us, but it's us all.
Yeah, but this also comes back in the text, no? You said
Yeah.
at the beginning.
Yeah.
The text.
I will come there. I will get there.
Oh, how many questions have you?
Please
Oh my God.
continue. You were saying.
Yeah, no. I guess my I don't really have a clear answer on it, but there is something about that we are meeting our own fears for being difficult towards somebody else, and it's a constant negotiation. And I think we did, in my view, we did really take steps of leaving our desires and being open to what is within this moment, and also to kind of there were also a lot of not just confrontations but really profound meetings where I guess at a certain point we were also just fatigued.
Yeah.
Because it is not just about us, it is also about deadlines, and it's also about like having a structure and having a partner and having a private life and not having a house.
So outside stress comes into the process.
Right, so I mean maybe we could have went deeper had we just been like, we just go into it. But we and that was
so
also
this was a big influence also on your process.
I think so.
Yeah.
I think we were both ready to also say, let's just move into the studio.
Yeah.
But we kind of had an idea of doing it. But hélas, it was not possible. We did ask.
Really? Yeah. And for you?
Question?
So it started with the clashes you two had.
Yeah.
And how much did you allow each other to have them, these disagreements or confrontations, and how much space do you give each other?
Yeah.
When do you say?
Actually, as much as possible, everything, you had the full possibility to disagree with fully. It's really that. It was trying to extend the space to being in disagreement.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, and I guess maybe even that the moment where that disagreement really became difficult was a way to learn, like because of that fucking safety net. Because we needed to have it be presentable, and did not trust that it is constantly able to be engaged with.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting. It's good to say that.
There's this part about leaving out desires but still wanting this safety net that I find very interesting, because it's the desire to have this something still.
Yeah.
So you choose together then that thing is it.
Because we came to the point that also you cannot be desireless.
No.
Because that's also what makes you go on, is that you have desires.
Yeah, you want something.
I actually didn't get the question.
So no, it's not necessarily a question. It's just something I found interesting. Because you also talk about the safety net that had to be there.
Yeah.
But still, you also talk about when confrontations came. Sometimes you need to be desireless.
Yeah.
So how do these two things then live together in that moment?
Yeah, but I guess maybe we could call it desire and say, yeah, it's desire, right? And then that's what drives it forward. And maybe it's also, but I had the feeling that sometimes it was equally as much, and again, I don't know if I'm romanticizing these things.
I don't know.
But sometimes, in moments, I really, really felt it is not me or Tom's desire to create whatever vision we have. We are just meeting, and things are happening,
right?
And we are going deeper in it, and it's as if we are. It's just speaking from itself through us, and that part did not happen all the time. I think this is really like something to, if one can achieve this, then it's like miraculous. But at least as a constant. But I think this is one of the at least core things for my occupation with theater and performance, is to kind of having the moment where you are not the one having desires about something. You are maybe researching material and something is coming up, an idea is coming up, but at a certain point it's also just pure fire.
Yeah.
And once you're performing it, that it's just fire, and you are a human being embodied in that fire, I guess. It's like, what is it called? It's like sexy talk to your ears. Yeah.
And I lost it.
It's fine.
It's okay. It's okay. Maybe it comes back.
So you also...
I got it.
Okay.
But this fire, I still think we found it.
Okay. No, but I mean... But I think, yeah, but I guess it's also as if it's also then if we found it, it's like absoluteness. It's we found the one thing that it can be, and yeah, we also did, but also there's more, and also there's so I think I'm saying and there's more, and but there's more, and,
maybe you found it within this structure. But maybe there's also more.
Yeah,
it's gonna be a big fire.
And maybe it is just each other.
Oh, right.
I said to Tom the other day that I said to Tom the other day that whenever I'm having dreams, the past few months, I'm always having him in the dream, even if I'm not dreaming of him. Like if I'm dreaming of the future, he's in that world.
Yeah,
existing.
you know he's there.
Yeah. And it doesn't need to be. Oh yeah, I saw him walking.
Yeah.
It's like I can be in France and he can be in Belgium, and I know that he's there.
Yeah. I can really relate to this.
Yeah.
You mean your sleep dreams? No.
Both. Like
both.
Yeah.
Ah.
Yeah.
Did you know he daydreams about you?
Yeah.
Oh, I daydream about the future. Right? That's my desire.
Right. You daydream about the future.
And then Tom is
there. Tom is there.
Yeah, I thought only in daydreams.
I don't know.
Oh.
Also night sleepy dreams.
Yeah. At least most of the time. Maybe it's not all the time. Like, it's a lot of the times where I'm like, Tom is also here, but I'm actually getting like whipped by this. Oh no, let's not go there. Anyway, how do we continue from here?
Sorry.
I don't have anything more to say.
Okay. No, I was wondering still because you also had an advisor. Did you have two advisors or one advisor?
Two,
right?
Two,
yeah.
So one was Oscar Jan
and Fabian Santaciel.
Yeah.
So I can tell.
Alright. You just have to say the name.
But it's also Oscar Hooglandaan.
Yeah, absolutely. Because there was a lot of music installation as well on the stage, as I remember, and there was a piano there as well. So I was wondering how much of these influences did you get inspired by, for example, Oscar Jan, and how much did you come up? No, I don't know if this is the right question.
No, I get it. I think both, in my experience, both of them were quite not influencing really.
No.
More like reflecting what they saw. Also with maybe, I think Oscar maybe did the most influence on saying to him, we are diving too much into something and losing once we're doing, and then he showcased what we were doing.
Yeah.
And said it really opens up when you do something like this. Can you research that? And
Right,
then we
right.
researched that.
It was more of a coaching then.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
that was particularly with the piano.
Yeah.
Because he's also a pianist, so
Yeah.
I guess he knows how easy it is, or I think it's one of his fears as a live performer, that he's like losing himself.
Yeah.
But I kind of also like when that pianist
If
loses
it happens.
himself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But maybe it was not for this practice.
No,
No.
maybe partly,
Hmm.
but we should remember.
Should remember, I'm doing it, but I'm also aware of there.
So there was also this text that you used at the beginning, and I remember in the class we once had a conversation about this text,
Oh yeah.
and where it really came down to that the water was mentioned, and in the end
Yeah.
you wash Nikolaj in the water,
Yeah.
and this I felt like there was a necessity from you two that this needed to be heard by the audience, and some
Yeah.
people missed it in the text, and some
Yeah.
people did not miss it. So I was wondering where this necessity came from, and why this was the important thing in the text.
I mean, I know my answer, but what is your answer?
I don't know. And the only thing is that I don't want to have. If people come to me and tell me, but why was the water there?
Exactly.
I mean, you have been distracted by a detail, and you missed probably the thing. That's it.
No, so there is because also now I feel necessity
Yeah.
that it was mentioned, and is it about then that it was mentioned, or did it have something more for you there? That's my question.
No, necessity, I think the importance of it is the meaning of what water meant for us, and the fact that the last scene is a bit of a switch if you don't realize that we mentioned water 5 times in the very beginning. Because I think some people did disconnect with that first beginning speech that we're having together, and some people really connected with it, but it did make it so that those who did not connect in the beginning were quite home by the end, which I also kind of enjoyed. I mean,
Yeah.
I think if I was an audience and I didn't get the first text, I would still be like, water.
Right.
Yeah.
You wash yourself.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
you wash each other, and you have there was something beautiful in it. It's in itself, and the water was more. I guess we had a conversation about constant exchange. I guess of what the fuck you can say, constant exchange of souls, of words, of energies, of blah 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 blah, and one of the places where you are exchanging is in liquids, body fluids, in your own fluidity with air being brought, and then that water idea is the moment where you can almost dissolve into everything. I guess if you could allow yourself to really surrender into the water, you would become the water.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think that's it.
Thank you. Yeah. I can relate.
Then we can have a conversation about it another day. If you want.
Yeah. I would actually really like that
Yes.
because I found it very interesting in general. Furthermore, I asked both of you to, if you want, send me some questions. Indeed, we already did one of yours, but maybe we can come back to it a bit if we need to. To send a question in for your partner.
Yeah.
In this case, your partner, your duet partner.
It's my partner.
So for Nikolaj, I have a question from Tom, and the first one is: in which way does the duo prepare us for death, if it does?
So Tom is relating to, because I think I was questioning what the purpose of art is, and how do I define art from entertainment, from blah blah blah. I still don't really know it, but I was researching a filmmaker called Tarkovsky. Maybe you know him. But I think he was defining, if I'm remembering from what I read correctly, he was also looking both at filmmaking more as somebody who is sculpting, but in time, in something that is durational, and looking at that way of filming. And he went into this idea that to create art and to experience art is so that you become more and more ready to surrender and die. Sorry for laughing, but I think the idea of that art is, of course you can always put it into different categories of, this art piece made me feel really connected because I could relate it to my struggles with my or it made me think about these problems within our society and all of these things. And then my speculations was just, can you have it within one sentence, and what would that be? And then I stumbled upon his words of, art is there to prepare us for death. So that so for example with me, I'm going through all these things in life, and art is one of the things, if not the thing, that kind of makes me more and more ready to surrender to the inevitable.
And
If it is
and then how do I formulate this in English? How much did your practice prepare that? Would you say it does that?
I think,
in a way?
yeah, definitely. I think it does. I mean, both because Tom and I were so occupied with letting go of ourselves and acknowledging what part of ourselves is, and I think my personal practice revolves a lot around meeting the shortcomings is maybe not the right word, but meeting the moment, like unraveling myself, surrendering myself, so that I can go through pain and end up healing and become healed and help others via that heal. And healing is then maybe not necessarily we're gonna feel better per se, but making space for the pain to be released.
So you could also say that a part of that pain that was you has died, which is also preparing for death.
Yeah, in a way. Yeah, I guess it's both dying, expanding, transforming. I'm not sure yet what it is, but there's something about that, especially maybe theater and performance art, is there to transform.
Yeah.
And then what are you transforming into? You're transforming into everything. Maybe. This is where I am in my thinking right now.
Very, very good question. Thank you for handing it over. I would like to ask you as well, actually.
Oh, Oh, tables
Oh,
have turned.
Well, I mean, I'm interested in your opinion about it and how much you align with Nikolaj.
Yeah, I think it does prepare ourselves to die. And I think this process only brought me to unreveal myself, but
Unreveal or unravel?
What is the difference?
Revealing is showing.
Oh,
So if you unreveal, I guess you
close
would
down.
not. And unraveling is like, one of
Yeah.
those thread. You have like a thread.
yeah.
That's unraveling.
Then this one.
Yeah.
Unraveling. So, you.
I was only there in the process.
Yeah.
I didn't get further, but to me it's already proof that it's doing its work.
Yeah.
Yeah, I hope the work will keep on. How do you say this? Muter is in French. When you have a turtle,
Yeah.
and then it becomes a super turtle.
Mutate. Yeah, it mutates, no?
Yeah.
How do you say it? What's the correct word? There's a word for it. Mutation or something.
Something
yeah.
like this.
Yeah.
It becomes from a turtle to a bigger turtle.
Super turtle.
What? How does it do that?
A turtle with superpowers.
Yeah, no, it's like a bit of film vocabulary when you have a monster.
Yeah.
It's small, and then it gets poison or something
Mm-hmm.
that makes them strong.
So it mutates, but then you mean
mutates? Yeah.
you mean
Ah.
like mutants, no?
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah. Mutation.
I hope that the work.
This is what I. You hope it,
Interesting.
but don't you just mean that like the same thing as evolve, like that it evolves into something, or that's a different word?
This
for
word
it?
is done.
Okay. It's in the past. It has died.
Transform.
Transform. It's like the same thing you mean, no?
No.
Because mutation is sometimes.
It's part of it, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's part of it, but well, maybe this is something to investigate in the
Yeah,
future together.
yes, I guess
What this
it is.
mutation means within the practice. So, unless there's anything to add, I'm going to continue. Let me see how I wrote this down. So here comes back the question you had about the structure that was there, but do you want to get back to that, or we leave it where it was?
I think it makes sense. Did it not? Or
Yeah,
unless there's
yeah,
more,
for me as well.
yeah,
Huh?
it
So,
does.
but unless you want to add something. Then for Tom, one of the first questions Nikolaj sent in was, what does silence mean to you? And I was personally wonder regarding to what?
Maybe Tom knows.
But maybe Tom knows.
Yeah. It's a black. It's dark. It's nothing. It's the opposite of everything. It's less than yourself. It's extremely painful. But it's also one of the best experiences you can have.
I'm very appreciative because you are maybe the person who is influencing me to allow silence the most, or like by your nature you're allowing silence to be present in space and room in conversations, and I see that I have really the tendency to fill up room with something that is easy for people. It's easy for people to be like, yeah, and then I'm gonna follow up with this question, and ha ha ha, la la, and I mean, I think I have a specialty in mediating and also engaging in deeper conversations with people, but I also see that sometimes I strain so far away from silence because I am getting I'm able to feel how I'm feeling. And it can become really uncomfortable, and and if we go beyond that, it can also become dark and painful and beautiful. How do you relate to it?
How do I relate to silence? It's funny how you responded to it, because it's also something what I'm doing here is that I'm quite quickly following up with questions, for example, and stuff. Well, I think in the silence between us, there's also a lot to be sensed.
Yeah.
Which sometimes we are maybe not showing.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be shown, but it's already there. Which I think is the beauty of silence, is that everything is already there. So I don't fully agree with that silence is nothing. I think silence is everything. And that because everything is in silence already, it's there.
Yeah.
It just doesn't have to be shown anymore or heard.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Gotta think more about it.
But for me, it's also like that's why I come back to regarding to what.
Yeah.
Silence in what situation? Since everything is situational.
Yeah. No, so I was curious for what it, if I don't give it, I guess that's part of my questioning, to give that silence.
Yeah.
And also, I think I sense it a little bit, and also conversating, right? That there's allowing silence, so that's already talked about. So maybe I'd like to ask you specifically what silence in a performative manner means to you, or what does it do to you, maybe. And that's not verbally speaking, that's just having something and then silence. How do you meet it? What do you do with it? Can you do it?
Yeah. I don't know. No, but it's true. It's a nice thing to look for.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I liked it. It's already there. Everything is there. So if you reach that point, a lot can happen. Yeah. And then made me think of something desireless, without intention. You said in the beginning. I think it's really related.
Oh yeah.
That you go on the floor. I don't know anymore.
Yeah, it's
With something like this.
yeah.
If you, let's say, let's use these words. If you go without desires and get then you are moved by something that is not you. And the other thing, which was I forgot.
What?
Doesn't matter. It's a nice space to go in. Where,
Wait, can you repeat? Can you go a little bit back?
If you go in a space, being moved by something that isn't you, and find silence in it, that's the answer. I think that's the answer.
Being
Moved by something that isn't you, in silence.
in silence.
No, not in silence. You are moved by something that isn't you, in which you can find silence.
Which you can find silence.
Yeah.
And this is because about the performative, what silence means in the performative matter. Yeah.
That's good. And to me it relates also to the world of afterlife, to the death that is already there in silence. I think that's very much connected.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
To make a strange hop to the next, unless you wanted to
No,
ask
no, no. But, yeah.
something. Because there was one more question you wanted to ask Tom, so but it's not related to this question before. So we make a jump.
Yeah.
How do you feel about repeating material or setting things? Was a question from Nikolaj.
I think it's very powerful to repeat something. But it's not in our nature. It really isn't. If you listen to, we are talking about silence, but if you listen to what is there, which is not silent at all, then you cannot repeat something. It's impossible.
You prioritize listening above initial attention.
Yeah.
Actually, I kind of knew that, but still, it's said in this way. It kind of it makes it clearer. I think. Do I agree with that? It's because you ask.
Yeah.
Do I? Because you say, if I really listen to the space, it is also, I guess it would, we are then talking about something that is listening to a space of which you are still, like if you really enter a space that is without anything, and I'm not talking a room per se, I'm just talking a space, you're in space, and you can let go of everything, I guess somehow there's still cells moving, and there's still air breathing, and there's still things relating to everything, and that pushes you into something. And then I think when creating something, at least when imagining myself being hired to create a piece, or when I have an original idea, if I have an idea of creating something, there's still something about then searching for within what I'm searching for, and then going closer and closer and closer to that, because you're still somehow wanting to maybe say something, or to allow something, a particular thing to be there. And therefore repetition and refining and making things sharp is also, then if you have to listen to everything, which is also the societal pressure, or I'm in a job, I have to make this pressure, then it does ask you to do this. I guess so it is to what you are listening to that makes it either go or go.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because if I'm just listening to the squirrels, then I'm not gonna I'm not per se gonna do the exact same thing. I might go, a squirrel, and then the squirrel goes there this time and not goes there this time, and then yeah. But if that squirrel says you have to pay a bill, no. Where's the nuts, Nikolaj? And I'm like, fuck, I didn't.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. I think we need to round it up here.
Yeah.
Also because the battery won't last forever.
Oh.
Mostly because of that.
Nice.
But I really enjoyed having this conversation.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you.
For you didn't facilitate it, but
no.
But
Thank you for asking me to sit here and ask questions.
Yeah, it was really wonderful.
It was super nice, and if you need me ever again, please let me know.
Thank you.
Because I think you have very interesting minds.
Yeah, you too.
Thank you.
Thank
Shall I then this time walk out, and then you stay seated?
Yeah.